On July 31, 2026, a memorandum reportedly went out from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence over the signature of Principal Deputy Director Aaron Lucas. Its instruction: intelligence community elements are to waive non-disclosure obligations for personnel who wish to report unidentified anomalous phenomena information through ARO or through the Pursue Task Force. 18 recipients, 30 days to report compliance. Coverage called it a breakthrough. The more useful question is narrower and colder. Inside the American classification system, what does waiving a non-disclosure agreement actually accomplish? The honest answer: more than nothing, and considerably less than disclosure. On July 26, 2023, former National Reconnaissance Office officer David Grusch told a House Oversight Subcommittee he knew the exact locations of alleged non-human craft, and then declined, repeatedly, to say more in open session. Not because he refused, because he said he wasn't permitted. Congress had already tried to fix that. Section 1673 of the fiscal year 2023 Defense Authorization Act, codified at 50 U.S. Code, paragraph 3373, established ARO alongside a secure reporting mechanism and an explicit prohibition on reprisal. Section 1687 of the FY 2024 Act went further, cutting off funding for any UAP-related program not disclosed to ARO. The statutes existed. The behavior, witnesses insisted, did not change. As circulated publicly, the memorandum directs heads of intelligence community elements to identify personnel holding UAP-related non-disclosure obligations, waive those obligations for the limited purpose of reporting to ARO or Pursue, and certify compliance within 30 days. Read the distribution list carefully because it functions as a map. CIA, NSA, DIA, the National Reconnaissance Office, NGA, FBI, Energy, States Bureau of Intelligence and Research, Homeland Security, Service Intelligence Components, the Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence and Security. One caveat stated plainly: ODNI has not published an official copy. Every characterization here rests on the version in public circulation and on reporting around it. Treat the text as reported, not authenticated. Here is the structural problem. Standard Form 312 and Form 444, the classified information and SCI non-disclosure agreements, are acknowledgements. They are not the source of the legal obligation. That obligation flows from Executive Order 13506 and from criminal statutes, Title 18, Sections 793, 798, and 641. Waiving an NDA does not declassify anything. If the underlying material sits inside a special access program, telling an employee their non-disclosure agreement is waived does not give an ARO investigator or a task force staffer the clearance and need to know required to lawfully receive it. The memo addresses the contract. It does not touch the classification. That said, dismissing it entirely is also wrong. SF 312 already permits disclosure to authorized recipients. The perennial fight was over who counts as authorized. This memorandum names them, in writing, from the second-ranking office in the intelligence community. Layer that against existing law. The anti-gag provision, carried in Appropriations Acts since 1988, bars funding for non-disclosure agreements that don't preserve whistleblower rights. Title 5, Section 7211 protects communications with Congress. Title 50, Section 3234 establishes the intelligence community whistleblower channel, and critically, it creates a paper trail. An employee who reports through the named channel and is then stripped of access now has a document dated before the retaliation. So what happens on day 31 if an agency simply doesn't answer? Nothing automatic. The memorandum, as circulated, specifies no penalty, and the authority gap is real. The DNI controls the National Intelligence Program budget. Much of the material at issue, legacy aerospace programs, service-level special access programs, sits inside the Military Intelligence Program, managed through the Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence and Security and the Defense Department's Special Access Program Central Office. ODNI can direct. It cannot compel a service SAP manager who reports elsewhere. The realistic enforcement paths are the Intelligence Community Inspector General and Appropriations Congress fencing money, exactly as it attempted in Section 1687. Now apply it to the case that generated the demand. Grusch's central allegation was not primarily that he lacked permission to speak. It was that he was denied access after filing his complaint, and that he suffered retaliation. A waiver helps the person who possesses information and fears prosecution. It does considerably less for the person who is told the program does not exist. Then there are contractors. A substantial portion of the alleged material, if it exists, is held by private firms under proprietary agreements and DD Form 254 classification specifications. Those are corporate instruments. The Director of National Intelligence did not sign them, and arguably cannot unilaterally void them. Skip the interpretation. Watch for 5 observable outcomes. 1. Does ODNI publish or does Congress obtain the 18 compliance responses? 2. Does ARO's reported case intake from cleared personnel measurably rise in its next statutory submission? 3. Does any witness testify in open session about material previously withheld under an NDA rationale? 4. Does the Intelligence Community Inspector General open a compliance review? 5. Does any Section 1687 funding referral actually issue against a non-reporting program? If none of those indicators move within 2 reporting cycles, the memorandum is procedure. If 2 or more move, something structural has shifted. Bureaucracies rarely lie in memoranda. They write narrowly. What Aaron Lucas reportedly signed on July 31st is genuine infrastructure, a named channel, named recipients, a deadline, and a signature that can be cited later. That is not trivial. Every prior assurance to UAP witnesses was verbal. It is also, on its face, incapable of declassifying a single page, compelling a single defense.